has come.
Pretty woman, walking down the street, pretty woman.
With your smile so warm.
Decade begins with Prime Minister John Diefenbaker in power. His reign is most memorable for his work on Aboriginal rights. It is because of his efforts that all status Indians, regardless of their place of residence, receive the right to vote in federal elections. Diefenbaker also helps pass the Canadian Bill of Rights through the House of Commons, making it the first legislation to express human rights at a federal level after becoming law on August 10, 1960. It is surprising to note that Canada actually became the third nation to operate a satellite in space after the Oclawit 1 designing corporation of Canadian engineers was launched to study the various effects of space. In the 1963 election, Lester B. Pearson becomes the Prime Minister with a minority government. His time in power is well spent as he spearheads a vast number of projects across many different divisions. He establishes the CCP, the Canadian Pension Plan, in 1966. This plan is the first of many social security nets created in the 60s. It is designed to assist retiring Canadians who had previously been employed. He also helps create the predecessor to our modern-day healthcare system through passing the Medical Care Act, making Canada the envy of the world, even to this day. In the 1968 election, Pierre Trudeau becomes the Prime Minister, continuing the Liberals' hold of power at the federal level of government. He wins on a platform of social freedoms and equality, taking a forward approach on a multitude of issues. He's famous for establishing warm relations with Communist China, despite the objections of the United States.
Requested for space activities to provide the funds which are needed to meet the following national goals. First, I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth.
The 1960s sees an exponential rise in the number of technological advances, with Canadians playing a fair part in this rise. The bone marrow compatibility test, often used to treat cancer patients even today, was invented by Canadian Barbara Bain in 1960. Additionally, Gustave Cotte revolutionized assembly lines when in 1966 he created the rotary blow molding machine, a new automatic plastic bottle maker. However, all these creations are put to shame by the work of a number of Canadian engineers who created the landing gear used by U.S. spacecraft Apollo II. This group helped design the gear that put Neil Armstrong on the moon, completing John F. Kennedy's promise of putting a man on the moon by the end of the decade.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
The 1960s saw the Canadian world of entertainment developing an identity of its own. Although many Canadians adored US-based TV game show What's My Line and mystery drama Harry Mason, they had stiff competition. Canadian-based music program Sit Back with Jack and law series A Case for the Court gained significant followings. When looking to the music industry, a similar trend can be found. There is no denying that the British invasion was liked by Canadians. The Beatles and the Rolling Stones were household names due to a growing counterculture created by youth being dissatisfied with tradition. However, Canada had its own unique group of artists emerge, with the likes of Gordon Lightfoot becoming well known all across the country, with songs such as Sundown.
What she really means. Sometimes I think it's a shame when I get feeling better when I'm feeling no pain. Sometimes I think
the counterculture movement is also a great factor in the United States during the 1960s. The origins of the counterculture movement can be attributed to a large number of adults being born as part of the baby boomer generation. This generation is brought into a time of economic security, allowing them to focus on more than just survival and material possessions. They are often referred to as hippies, those concerned with sexual freedoms, drug use, and social justice. This results in support of the civil rights movement, which Dr. Martin Luther King leads until his assassination in 1968. A counterculturist mentality is further observed when, as means of opposing the government and tradition, protests erupt against the Vietnamese War. Canada did not play a direct role in the war, but many men who wanted to avoid the draft from the United States fled to Canada. It is estimated that between 50,000 and 150,000 people immigrated to Canada because they were unhappy with U.S. involvement in the war.
See her looking fast in her faded jeans. She's a hard-loving woman, got me feeling mean. Sometimes I think it's a shame when I get feeling better, when I'm feeling no pain. Sundown, you better take care if I find you've been creeping round my back stairs. Sundown, you better take care if I find you've been creeping round.
The 1960s was a decade to be remembered. It saw vast developments to technologies that to this day remain relevant. It contained a unique change in entertainment, from traditional to rebellious, and most notably, it gave rise to a counterculture movement that can be considered the first attempt at activism. More than all was the profound sense of excitement, the belief that a change was around the corner and that anything was possible. The ability to question social norms and to battle the system was born in the 60s, and it can still be found today.
Always love you, but long as there are stars above you, you never need to doubt it. I'll make you so sure about it. God only knows what I'd be without you. If you should ever leave me, well, life would still go on, believe me. The world could show nothing to me, so what good would